Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a magic penny, hold it tight and you won't have any. Lend it, spend it, and you'll have so many, they'll roll all over the floor. For love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jesse Edegine, and I'm the mayor of Berkeley. Berkeley has a... No? Oh, are we on?
You're on.
Oh, hi. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jesse Edegine. I'm the mayor of Berkeley, and please forgive me. We're using Zoom, so we're adjusting to this new technology. As you know, Berkeley has a worldwide reputation as the center for the arts, for innovation, and for world-class cuisine. Our small businesses, many of whom are locally owned and operated, and our amazing arts organizations, and the people that work for them, add to the vibrancy and culture of our city. They are truly the lifeblood of Berkeley. Simply put, Berkeley would not be the vibrant, quirky place that we love if it were not for them. But since the outbreak of the coronavirus, many businesses and arts organizations have had to reduce their hours, cut staff, or even close entirely. And we know as this health risk grows that there are even more uncertain weeks ahead. So how are we going to work to make sure that we do not lose our businesses and our world-class arts organizations during this crisis and the emerging recession? How are we going to make sure that workers who rely on these jobs are able to continue to pay the rent and do not become homeless? These are serious questions many of us have been asking, and that is why we created the Berkeley Relief Fund. Berkeley is a resilient city. Whether it's earthquakes, wildfires, or disruptive protests, we have always persevered. And this is because we come together, we look out for one another, and we will succeed together. Now we face a new challenge with COVID-19. And so this afternoon, we will show you the faces of those impacted and hear their stories. These are community members who need your help. And today we're proud to launch the Berkeley Relief Fund. And I'm joined by best-selling author and Berkeley resident Michael Lewis, who is co-hosting this event with us. But before I turn over to Michael, I want to share some exciting news. Since we advertised the launch of the Berkeley Relief Fund, we have already been contacted by businesses and residents who want to support this effort. And I'm pleased to announce that as we launch the Berkeley Relief Fund today, that Bayer Pharmaceuticals, one of Berkeley's largest employers, has pledged to give $250,000 to the Berkeley Relief Fund. I want to take this opportunity to thank Bayer Vice President Jens Vogel and Bayer for their generous support at this critical time and their ongoing partnership. We will also be announcing throughout this broadcast some challenge grants shortly, and we hope throughout this event that you will give generously to support our businesses, our arts organizations, and our renters. Michael, thank you so much for your commitment to our community. And I put this now in your capable hands. Take it away.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you. We're off to a great start. I mean, that's terrific. And we're going to tease out some of the stories of the local businesses and get a sense of what they're going through. But before we do that, can I ask you a couple of questions about this fund?
Absolutely.
So how did it come about? What's the idea of it? How big is it going to be? And like, well, more important, like maybe where do you go to donate?
Good questions. So the idea actually came out of my conversations with local businesses and arts organizations who have literally had to close their doors, even leading up to the shelter-in-place order. For example, the Berkeley Rep has seen a significant drop in their patrons and now is closed entirely. The UC Theater, an amazing also performing arts organization, has had to close their doors. Many local businesses are closed now, although some are providing takeout service to local residents. They've had to lay off their employees. And so, these businesses, these arts organizations are really the lifeblood of our city. And I felt that it was important that the city step up and do something to provide some emergency assistance to not only keep these businesses in operation, make sure that they can get through this crisis. And so we created this relief fund to provide emergency assistance for our local businesses, our arts organizations, as well as renters who may be facing displacement because they've lost their job or may be impacted by this health crisis. And the Berkeley City Council voted this past Tuesday to put $3 million of city funds into this fund that we hope through businesses and residents, we can match that amount or even exceed that amount. And the idea is to grow this fund as large as possible so we can be able to support as many businesses, arts organizations, residents as we can. We don't know how long this crisis is going to last. So that's why it's so important that people give today and give as generously as they can so that we can help as many people as possible and really keep Berkeley the dynamic and vibrant city that it is.
Where do
I think we can weather this storm.
So let me interrupt because we're gonna go to some videos in a minute, but where do people go to donate?
They can go to berkeleyrelieffund.org, all one word, berkeleyrelieffund.org, and there's a donate button on the main page. All donations are tax deductible, and they will be made to the East Bay Community Foundation, which is our 501c3 nonprofit that is actually hosting the fund. So your donation is tax deductible, and we encourage as many residents and businesses to contribute, whether it's $5, whether it's $50,000, every amount makes a difference and will help ensure that our communities can survive this crisis.
And the East Bay Community Foundation will manage the fund and distribute the funds
yes,
to those who need it.
Working in partnership with the city of Berkeley.
Gotcha. All right, so so many people in the community submitted videos and with their stories, and we're going to get some of the stories live. But
wonderful.
But can we see some of the videos now?
Hi, my name is Zoe Ellis.
And I'm Lillian Ellis.
And I work for both Ashkenaz and Freight and Salvage in Berkeley. And that represents 80% of my livelihood. My teaching, my performing, my rehearsal space, which is also true for my daughter with her groups and performance and rehearsal. My students, many of whom are older. This pandemic crisis is really affecting all of us, and all of my musician friends are struggling. Please donate
to the Berkeley Relief Fund
today.
Hello everyone, Eric Fenster here, owner of Gather Restaurant in downtown Berkeley. I cannot put into words how painful and concerning this time has been. As a result of the coronavirus, 45 talented people who've been the heart and soul of Gather for over 10 years are out of work. We are asking our incredible community to come together at this time to donate to the Berkeley Relief Fund to help us carry through this moment and get back open down the line. Thank you so much.
Paluska is there, and Mayor Aragon should be there.
So I apologize for whatever technical disruption is going on. I'll confess it's my first time using Zoom, but it's everybody else's fault. Do we have John here? But John is muted.
John, thank you for joining us. John, I think you're muted. So if you can unmute your microphone.
Okay, how's that?
Sounds great. Look great.
Now Michael is muted.
Michael, I think you're muted.
John, there we go.
Okay.
John, you there?
I'm here.
All right, this is like a really slick operation here, and we're doing great. Can we talk a little bit about John? You're the owner of Kamal. I've had many a great meal there. I'd like to just talk a little bit about just what you've experienced in the last 10 days or so, like how this struck you, what you've had to do, what your plans are.
Okay. So probably like most of you, the time has moved in funny ways in the last week. It's kind of hard to believe where we were at a week ago. A week ago today, we made a decision to close. It was a couple days ahead of the shelter in place. We felt like we couldn't ensure the safety of our workers based on the lack of tests available and some of the other details that weren't clear. And so over the last week, we have had to make a lot of really difficult decisions. We had to lay off basically our entire staff so they could begin collecting unemployment. And we've essentially closed down the restaurant. We donated food to our staff, and what we still had left after that, we donated to Berkeley Housing and Food Project. And in terms of the question of what our plans are, that's probably the most difficult part about a lot of this, about this for a lot of us, is that it's just very difficult to predict how the future is going to unfold and how soon we'll be able to get back to operating.
What's going through your head?
It's scary. If we knew that this was a 6-week shutdown and we could count on getting back into business after that, that would be a very different proposition. So I think that the most daunting part of this, like I said, is the uncertainty of all of it. And then it's been heartbreaking letting all these people go, many of whom are paycheck to paycheck. We've all heard all these stories, but when you actually are delivering the news to these people and helping them navigate an unemployment application, or discussing how they're going to make ends meet, it's heartbreaking and very real.
Do you, I get a feeling, I bet restaurant owners have a really clear view of the fragility of the society, of the economy, and that there's so many people in this economy who can't take a $300 or $400 shock.
Exactly right.
And a lot of those people are working for you.
We give a lot of mid payroll advances to people who have one of those shocks and they don't have the money to absorb it.
I want to take you back before I let you go, because I mean, one of the great things about businesses is just the spirit in which they started. Like, what led you to open a restaurant in the first place?
I really enjoy creating occasion, creating a place for people to gather and build community. And obviously, I'm a huge lover of food and drink and all of that as well. But the biggest driver for me was to try to create a community hub. And I think we succeeded at that with Kamal, and that's and a really diverse one at that. And that's always been something that's meant a lot to us, is how diverse our customers are.
You totally succeeded. Are you? But in the back of your mind, you're thinking you're coming back.
Oh, we're coming back.
Yeah,
we are coming back. I will say that, we're just crossing our fingers that the various relief packages that are being discussed and bandied about on a national level, as well as the wonderful program that's been put in place by Berkeley, will be thoughtful and get to the right people, because that's going to make a massive difference. And I will say, we plan to be back. We're in a good, strong position. I mean, we're still very vulnerable right now, but I'm confident we'll get back somehow. But a lot of restaurants are not going to make it, and it's a real thing. I wouldn't be surprised if a third to half of them don't make it back, because so many of them are on the brink already.
What's the difference between a restaurant that's in a strong position to come back and one that's on the brink?
We have a really good, we've been operating in a good way for a long time. So if I need to go back to our investors for more cash, then they're going to see the potential and the wisdom in doing that. But if someone has been, hanging in there but barely making ends meet, it's difficult to go back to the well, take out a big loan, especially with a personal guarantee, and they may not have investors to draw from.
We want to share a link to the list of restaurants that are open and doing delivery or curbside pickup. Are we going to do that on the screen? But so if you visit the berkeleyrelieffund.org, you can get that list. Is Kamal on that list?
We're not.
How'd you make that decision?
Well, like I said, we have a very robust delivery and takeout business at Kamal Next Door, our taqueria next to Kamal. But we felt, and we still feel like the ability to create a really safe workplace for your workers and for your customers, there's too many question marks right now in our mind that we want to wait. We're hoping to get back into delivery and takeout soon, but we really felt like we needed to step to the sidelines and better understand, wait for more testing and and have a better idea what kind of protocols we need to put in place in terms of our day-to-day operations to ensure that we're protecting workers and customers.
I'm gonna wrap it up because we have other people to talk to, but I really appreciate you coming on and spend a little time with us. And I can't wait to rent out your basement again and have a party. I've had several there and they're great.
Yes, you have. Yeah. Well, thanks
terrific.
a lot. Thank you for taking the time to host this, and and to Mayor Arreguin and everyone else who's involved with trying to raise these funds.
We'll
Thank
see
you, John.
Much
we'll see you
appreciated.
soon. We'll see you soon.
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye-bye, John. So now we're going to, there she is. I can see her in a little box at the top of my computer, Stephanie Sala. Can we get her on the main screen? Do I just
Hi, Michael.
Hey, there you are. There you are. So Stephanie and I are old friends. We started together in the Albany Berkeley Girls Softball League, first as ferocious opponents, and then we ended up being on a coaching together, and watch our girls grow up there. And Stephanie is the owner and founder of Five Little Monkeys toy store in Berkeley on 4th Street. Now I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about your experience and what you've gone through. I've been thinking of you from the moment this happened because I could sense how vulnerable you might be. So take me back to the decision to what it felt like to have to close the place.
This has been one of the hardest weeks of my life, honestly. Before the shelter in place orders came down, I was really grappling with balancing health and safety of our community and staff with the financial burden that closing my stores would have on my staff, as well as, me as a small business owner. And in a lot of ways, I kept wishing that someone would take the decision-making out of it for me and just tell me to close or tell me what to do. And yet when it came, I expected to feel a sense of relief. And instead, I felt like I had been punched in the gut. And as I was laying plans of what to do and sort of, in crisis planning mode, I quickly realized that unfortunately with nearly 50 employees, I had to lay everybody off. So last week I actually posted a little heartfelt, story about how this has impacted my business, and the community response has been incredible. So now I luckily am in a position where I have a lot of online orders coming through and was able to bring back a few staff members. I've got my children out delivering toys to people's homes, and we're shipping orders, which is great, but it's not enough. I still have my rent to pay. I still have vendors to pay, things that, my cash flow, I had it all planned out, and then all of a sudden went, to zero. So luckily we have a little bit of revenue coming in now from our online store, but it's really nothing compared to what we had before with our 6 retail locations.
I mean, people might think that small businesses have some contingency plan for this, but I don't know how you would plan for this. I don't know what you could do. I mean, how are you thinking about going forward? What's in your mind about how you what's your thoughts about how you get through this?
Honestly, it's something I've been grappling with every day, trying to figure out how to make it through. I'm, going to be talking with my vendors, my landlords, my loan officer. I've got a SBA loan, and just, hoping that they're going to help me out and be flexible and let me defer payment and while I'm closed. I just, having the cash flow come to a screeching halt has been really hard. So I also do plan on applying for the SBA loan that's available to small businesses, and I'm exploring, other avenues.
So the one way the community could help is by ordering toys online.
Yes, that's been great, and we've gotten a wonderful response, and it's been incredible. We've gotten a lot of orders. We're kind of struggling to keep up now, which is a really great problem to have, honestly.
Well, if I can do anything for you, you call. I'm happy to come deliver toys if you need an extra delivery man. And
Thank you.
and it's great to see your face. Keep in touch. I'm so proud of you for what you've built, and we're going to find a way to help. You're not alone.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. We got to go to a video. I'm already running behind schedule, and I'm being like pulled. My sleeve is being pulled. So I'm gonna let you go. To be continued.
Thanks, Michael.
Hi there, my name is Robert Reich. I was Secretary of Labor in the Clinton administration, and for the past 15 years, I've been a professor of public policy at UC Berkeley. The COVID-19 pandemic has devastated communities across the globe and here in California and the Bay Area. In an unprecedented crisis like this, coming together as a community has never been more crucial. That's why I'm asking you today to please make a donation to the Berkeley Relief Fund, an emergency grant spearheaded by Berkeley Mayor Jesse Arreguín and Michael Lewis. With the federal government's abysmal failure to mitigate this crisis, I couldn't be more proud of our local leadership for stepping up to protect our most vulnerable community members. We're all in this together. So please, if you can, make a donation today. Thank you, and stay safe.
So I want to thank Professor Reich for that excellent statement of support for our local businesses. And we're just so fortunate to have, an amazing thought leader, not just on our campus, but in our community. And once again, thank you to Professor Robert Reich for participating and urging everyone to give to the Berkeley Relief Fund. Once again, you can go to www.berkeleyrelieffund.org to donate right now. And Michael.
Jesse. So what other ways can we support our local businesses? I mean, I can think of a few.
Yeah.
Order from restaurants that are still open, buy gift cards, in addition to giving to our fund, which I intend to do. What other thoughts do you have?
Well, in addition to some of that you mentioned, many people don't know that many of our local businesses are not just participating in food delivery apps or websites, but you're able to actually order and pick up at those restaurants. And so if you go to berkeleyrelieffund.org or visit berkeley.com, there's a list of restaurants who are participating in food pickup and delivery. And we encourage you to spend your dollars. I know many people are cooped up at home, and even though you can't go to a local restaurant, you can continue to support those restaurants by ordering takeout. And in addition to buying gift cards from other local businesses, and also buying toys or other goods online, just like the amazing a business we just heard from, Five Little Monkeys Toy Store. You can actually order toys online. We also know that there's going to be additional resources coming through the federal government to provide loans and emergency assistance. But it's really critical that we have resources now to address the scale of the problem. And that's why we created this fund to provide emergency assistance to support our local businesses and keep the doors open and keep people employed right now. So we encourage everyone to give as much as they can.
All right, on that note, we're going to move on. We're going to have a performance. So you don't have to just listen to us. The music of singer-songwriter Adrian Shamsad. It's equally inspired by American roots music and the traditional music and poetry of Iran. She channels both her Persian and American heritage through her voice and her lyrics. Her songs are meant to speak to the heart, to inspire hope, and to offer comfort, which we could all use. So take it away.
Hi, everyone. I'm so honored to be here. The first song, it's just a 1-2-part song. The first part is in Farsi, written by a songwriter named Marjan Vahdat. And thanks, Michael, for the introduction too. Appreciate it. So I'll start. This is called a setar. It's a really awesome instrument from Iran. And then I'll move to guitar. تذر
شاخه‌های سر به جانم به راحت واله هفت آسمانم من آن نیزارگر پر سکوتم گل آبی خاطر بی غروبم من آن شبنم که نورت حیا کرد بیاد چون سایه در آغوش ها کرد من آن نوحم نصیب سینه تو تسلای غمه سینه تو نوای نوای لیلای دیارم شراب تلخ مجنون خمارم شراب تلخ مجنون خمارم شراب تلخ مجنون خمارم I am here, love, I am here. Like the air you breathe, I'm always here. Keep me near, love, in your heart so dear. Have no fear, love, while I am here. Keep me near, my love, keep me near. I am here, my love, I am here. Ooh. Do you see me shining in the moon above? Do you hear the river sing of my everlasting love? I'm everywhere, love, and I am here. I'm in your prayers, love, and I'm in your tears. Keep me near, my love, keep me near. I am here, my love, I am here. I'm the friend that will not let you down. And even when you are not looking, I am around. And in your darkest moments, there is nothing you can do. Ooh, that could make me stop loving you. So keep me near, my love, near to you. I am here, my love, always here with you.
Adrian, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
It was, I can't believe I had to be quarantined to hear it. But how you handling
Whatever
it?
it takes.
Yeah, whatever it takes. But thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
We'll have you back for the next show.
Okay, sounds
This is
good.
gonna be a
Sending
regular
love
thing.
to everybody.
We're gonna do this. We'll be doing this daily. So
Great.
So you got to get some more material for us.
I've got plenty, and I love you all, and I'm sending everyone in the community all my love and all my music. Thank you.
Love coming back at you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, we're now going to move to a different kind of music, the music of UC Berkeley Chancellor Carol Christ, if she's here. And we'll wait for her to pop up. Carol, you there? Jesse, should you and I just talk about the university?
I see Chancellor Christ is on the call.
Chancellor Christ, you there? It's good. We're all learning Zoom on the fly. We're almost hearing you. We really ought to do this like once a week, and like 6 months from now, we'll have it down.
So, Michael, while we're waiting for the Chancellor to join us, should we talk a little bit about the impact of this?
Let's do that.
There's the Chancellor.
Yeah.
I see her right there. Chancellor Christ, if you can unmute yourself. Great.
I think I am unmuted, aren't I?
There you are. There you are. Chancellor Chris, hi. It's Michael Lewis.
Okay, great.
Local author.
Yes, I've read a lot of books. I've liked them.
Where are you sheltered in place there? You look like you're sheltered in place. You look like you're in a bookstore.
In Berkeley.
Looks like a secondhand bookstore.
It's my study.
So let's talk about the decision to shut down the university. Nicely done. I think walk me through the decision when you made it.
Well, when I made it I heard a really, really sobering presentation from one of our faculty members. This was about, I guess it was now 2 weeks ago, and I realized that we had to take much more radical steps than we had taken. So we decided to go online, to do everything remotely. This was like throwing some of our faculty, and I imagine some of our students, into the deep end of the swimming pool. But we've now been operating remotely for 2 weeks and discovering things every day. It's really been great. We have allowed our students, those students who want to go home, to go home. We imagine about half of the students in the dorms will either have left or will leave very shortly. But there are some students who don't have any place to go, students from abroad who can't travel home, students who don't have home conditions that are really conducive to continuing to do their work. So they're here, and we'll continue to serve them in the dorms. Most of our research has become remote, and everybody who can is working from home.
So let me ask you, this presentation that a faculty member made to you, what was in it that moved you to make the decision? I'm curious. I'd like to know a little bit more about it.
Well, I don't think it's any different from what you're reading now in the newspapers, but 2 weeks ago wasn't what you were reading in the newspapers. It was very, very, very sobering about the how contagious the virus was, the rate of spread, the mortality rate. And I realized that we had to, as the phrase being used goes, you had to flatten the curve. And the only way we could flatten the curve is by really, really reducing human contact between among students, between students and professors. And so that's what we decided to do.
This might not be the time to ask the question, but I'm going to ask anyway. What can the university do to help the town be here when it gets back?
Well, I know that we are Berkeley together. And that when we don't have students on campus, that really hurts local businesses. I feel we are so intertwined. I'm really grateful to the mayor for launching this fund to assist local businesses as well as our most vulnerable populations. And we will, in this interim period, reach out to our constituencies to ask for donations. City. But then as we come back, we'll I think we'll have a really a community that will be hungry for all the things that they love about Berkeley and love to do in Berkeley.
I totally agree. One last question for you. How are you staying sane? What do you do? What are the tricks?
Oh, well, I play a lot of piano. I play a lot of viola, and I have my son and his family living with me. So it's good. Even though the kids have cabin fever, it's great to have kids around.
Are you getting outdoors at all?
Oh, yeah, I walk every day.
Good. Well, we're lucky to have you. All I hear is I hear nice things about you all the time, and I've never heard anything but nice things. So please stay on and keep our town in mind when you're making big decisions about what you're gonna do with your student body. Aim them all at local businesses when they come back.
I certainly will. And I've lived in Berkeley for over 30 years. I love this city and will do everything in my position that I can to help it.
Thank you so much. All right, we're now gonna cut out to a series of videos, the content of which is as much a mystery to me as it is to you. But let's see what it is. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Bill Evans, and for more than 25 years, I've worked out of the Freight and Salvage Coffee House right in downtown Berkeley as a musician, workshop leader, concert organizer. The arts organizations in Berkeley have never been as threatened as they are now in our current economic and medical crisis. This Berkeley City Council has appropriated $3 million in direct support to all of the arts organizations in Berkeley, and you, as a Berkeley citizen, can contribute your matching funds through the Berkeley Relief Fund. Please donate to the Berkeley Relief Fund today. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joe Silvera, and together with my wife, Anat, we are teachers and owners of the Silvera Jewelry School. We're being affected by COVID-19 because all of our students are at home, as they should be. But normally we have 500 students a year who are here to study jewelry and to have a lot of fun. But as you can see, our benches are empty. We don't know when things are going to change, but we can all get through this together. Please help local businesses by donating to the Berkeley Relief Fund. And thank you.
Hi, Susie.
Hi, Jesse. I'm
Thanks
getting a
for
kick
doing
out of,
this.
I'm
This
just,
is great.
it's so wonderful, but it's making you all understand how hard it is to make live performance look easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have actually asked you to participate at an earlier stage. Yeah, sorry about that. Really sorry. It's amateur hour here.
It's delightful.
Susie, it's Michael Lewis here. We're going to talk a little bit about like the impact on arts and performers. I want to talk about it with you. Like what are you doing right now? What's going through the head of the managing director of the Berkeley Rep?
Well, what I'm thinking about right now is that last week we had about 200 people, over 200 people on our payroll. And to be really honest, Michael, all I am thinking about these days is how long can we keep people employed? How many people can we keep afloat? And we're trying to figure out, we're scenario building based on the unknown that John Beluska was talking about. Are we planning for a summer? Are we planning to start next fall? Are we planning to start a year from now? Because each set of what ifs has its own set of action steps, and we're trying to look at all of them.
What's the likelihood that you're going to do what the NCAA basketball tournament briefly said they were going to do and play the games without crowds?
So it's so funny you should say that.
All right.
Well, first of all, we can't do that because it imperils the health and well-being of our artists and our performance crews and all that. And we're concerned about our audience, but we're also so concerned about the people who are actually making the art. But about 2.5 weeks ago, when we began to realize this really was going to impact us, we and Berkeley Rep and ACT reached out to all of our sister unions, our collective bargaining partners, who have been so resistant to any kind of broadcast or recording in any way of our work, and have to this point made it very, very difficult to do so, and got them to agree that for our two companies that we could record and then broadcast to ticket holders who for each of our theaters. And then we found a platform in Broadway HD that could actually host this for us. And knock on wood, if all goes well, tomorrow, or this week, because this is a huge thing for Broadway HD, we're going to be releasing a recording of Culture Clash Still in America that we had to shut down a week ago. It had been running for 4 weeks. Many of our audience members had already seen it, but there were many who hadn't. We had a few days where people could purchase tickets just to see the recording. That's going to go out first. And then we had been in rehearsal for Schoolgirls, the African Mean Girl play. We had actors who had been working on this for weeks, and the thought of shutting it down and nobody ever seeing it was so agonizing. A week ago, we thought we were gonna rehearse it and go into previews and close it down tonight. And then we realized that that wasn't going to happen. So we thought, okay, maybe we could rehearse it and go into first preview without an audience and record it on Thursday. And then we thought, no, we're only going to be able to go as far as Tuesday. And so we'll record it then. And then we finally woke up on Monday morning thinking we were going to record it on Monday night. We recorded it on Monday afternoon. The actors will have rehearsed it 2 or 3 times. And that will go up in front of an audience sometime this week as well.
And where are these actors?
So we thought, okay,
are
maybe
they all
we could
still here?
rehearse it. Some of them we were able to get to their respective homes. One was local. Some flew back to New York. A couple of actresses had actually they had sublet their apartments because that's how artists live. And so we're housing them here in Berkeley as long as they need to be here. We've got a number of people like that who we're just keeping here in our apartments that we rent.
Are there any creative ways the community can help you? If you're just a citizen of Berkeley and you want to keep the Berkeley rep afloat, what clever things can we do?
First of all, you can support this fund, and you can support Berkeley Rep's virtual gala when it comes up in a few weeks. You could buy a ticket to see Schoolgirls, and with that, you'll get to see 300 plus Broadway shows that have also been available for broadcast.
How do you do that?
You can go to www.berkeleyrep.org.
All right.
And the last thing I'd say is that when we send out a subscription renewal notice, which will be our way of saying we're looking forward, we would ask you all to, if you haven't subscribed before, it's going to be a great year to do it. If you've been a subscriber, renew.
Okay.
When it comes
so
up,
the best way to help you isn't for me to write a play.
You can buy a ticket to see Schoolgirls, and with that, you'll get to see 300
you never know
plus
what's going to come. I was just thinking, got you on the phone.
I bet we'd read it. I bet we'd read it. We've been wanting you for a long time in our stable.
Well, it's really sweet of you to join us, and we're going to figure out how to get through this, right?
We will, and I want to thank you and the mayor and everybody else who's been working on this. It's a great thing to do. It feels great to be part of this community.
You added a little touch of professionalism to this enterprise today, so thank you. The rest never going to go back to amateur hour. Get out of here. We're going to go back to doing the way we do things. All right. All right, Jesse. Listen. Should we talk a little bit about your thoughts about how Berkeley citizens can help the arts performers and what the effects are now?
Sure. But before I talk a little bit about the impact on the arts on our community, I just want to highlight the fact that since we announced this launch, we've had several businesses and individuals that have generously agreed to provide challenge grants. And so I want to mention those generous donors right now and challenge those people that are watching and following on social media to please match those contributions. First, an anonymous donor who is a supporter of Berkeley Side and the UC Theater has generously pledged $25,000. And we want to just highlight both Berkeley Side and the UC Theater as great partners in this effort, working with us to help launch this fund. And in addition, Wareham Development and Rich Robbins, president of Wareham Development, have each pledged $25,000. So that's $50,000 that they are going to be donating to the Relief Fund as a way to encourage more businesses and more residents to contribute as well. So we want to thank not only our anonymous donor, but also Wareham Development for their generous support of this fund and for stepping up early so that we can help launch this fund in a way to help as many businesses and residents as possible. We know that our arts and cultural organizations have seen an immediate and steep decline in attendance since the COVID-19 pandemic took off just a few weeks ago. But we have over 150 arts and cultural organizations that operate in Berkeley. And together they contribute to a dynamic, continuing evolving arts and culture community that interacts closely with other sectors of our city's economy. And these organizations employ performers and artists and musicians and cultural workers and directors and dancers and box office staff. And the economic impact of our arts is significant. It generates $165 million in economic activity a year. In 2016, 2.6 million people attended cultural events in Berkeley. And so our arts are not only an important part of our, just the fabric of our city and our vibrancy, but are a really critical part of our local economy. And so when the arts suffer, our whole city suffers. That's why it's so important that we do what we can to ensure that our arts organizations are able to weather this storm and are able to, continue to provide the world-class entertainment that they provide in our city.
Thanks for that. I think we're going to turn our attention now to the impact that this is having on tenants.
Yes.
Can we talk, you and I talk a little about this for a minute?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because there may be all kinds of people who can't make the rent. And the idea of people being tossed out on the street is highly disturbing. I assume that's not going to happen, but walk through how you're thinking about this, how the city's thinking about how we help tenants.
Well, this health crisis has not only impacted our small businesses and our arts organizations, but it's impacting the most vulnerable in our community, not only people that are living paycheck to paycheck, but also the homeless. And we know that Berkeley has some of the strongest rent and eviction protections in the country, but we also know that some employees have recently lost their jobs or have been directly affected by this crisis, either becoming sick or taking care of sick loved ones. And so it's critical that we provide a safety net for our community so that people don't become homeless. And also businesses that have been forced to close due to local or state directives or have lost income may face eviction as well. So I'm happy to share that on Tuesday, the City Council adopted an urgency ordinance which prohibits the eviction of commercial tenants for non-payment of rent, as well as residential tenants for non-payment of rent and no-fault evictions, and actually making Berkeley the first city in the state of California to pass a prohibition on the eviction of commercial tenants, not only provide support for people living in housing, but also our businesses who are facing economic crisis as a result of this pandemic. And so in addition to helping our local businesses, one part of this relief fund effort is to provide emergency rental assistance to tenants who are directly impacted by the COVID-19 crisis. So please help donate to keep your neighbors housed, but also to help prevent homelessness.
I have just a kind of quick question about that. Did you get any kind of blowback from the landlord community when you passed those new laws?
Surprisingly not. In fact, a lot of landlords are voluntarily not proceeding with evictions, working on agreements individually with their tenants. And the Berkeley Property Owners Association, which represents apartment owners in the city of Berkeley, was a supporter of our ordinance and is actually part of our effort to help launch this Berkeley Relief Fund, and is very committed to working to help raise money, but also to help keep people in their homes, because not only is it important to prevent homelessness, but also important to make sure that landlords are getting that rental income so they can stay in business as well. Some of these are small property owners, people that are relying on their tenants to pay their mortgage, to help fund their retirement. And so this is also impacting residents in our community that rely on that rental income as well.
It's a mind-numbingly complicated situation we're in. It's very hard for everybody to imagine the strands of it. On this, let's bring in Ian Winters, who's the executive director of the Northern California Land Trust, and whose picture I've been seeing at the top of my screen for the last half hour. He's looked alternatively bored, distracted, and occasionally interested. Ian, can we have your thoughts on this? You're also a long-term CLT and COOP resident.
Hi, Michael. It's good.
How are you?
It's been great watching you as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm just kind of muddling through here.
Yes.
So how do you think about this? How do you think about the likely effects on the tenant community of of the just of what's going on?
So, as Jesse said, this is a many-headed problem to solve. It's not just preventing evictions. It's not just having a moratorium. It's literally keeping the entire housing sector or the economy afloat. Because we don't want to see people suddenly homeless 4 months from now or 5 months from now when lets up. And a couple weeks ago, when, like Susie, we started doing scenario planning and going, this is not going to be good. We started canvassing all of our residents and making sure that people were okay, trying to learn who was losing income, what extra help did they need. And as of Friday, those numbers are really sobering.
Give me a sense of them.
So 46% of our residents have lost between 50 and 100% of their income in the last 10 days. About 35% of our residents have less than 30 days of cash to operate their household on hand. About 10% are down to less than a week's worth of money for food. And of those, of that 50%, that near 50% that have lost their income, those are also not people that you would think about. Those are owners of print shops. Those are authors. Those are actors at Berkeley Rep. Those are composers. Those are your acupuncturist. That's your Pilates instructor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. So, I think back to the only experience that I've had and that the economy's had that even slightly rhymes with this is the financial crisis. And you watch the way the financial crisis sort of jolted people in a way, some people in a way they just never quite recovered from. And in large part because there wasn't the buffer there to help them in that moment. And I look at our homeless population and I think, how many of those people, had they had the support at the right moment, at the moment the jolt hit them, would not be there, would be in a different kind of orbit. And what I really worry about this moment is that lots of people are getting that jolt. We've got to find ways to buffer the blow, just because you can get knocked into just a different kind of life. And having like not just food insecurity and housing insecurity is a brutal thing. So I take it that you're a fan of this.
Yes, absolutely. And, it really needs to be a sector-wide effort. What the city is doing and this fund is absolutely critical because while it may not be big enough to help for months, what we have to get through are the next 4 to 8 weeks and allow people to understand that if they're sick, they can stay home. And not only they absolutely have to stay home, they shouldn't be going to work sick. And that we're going to make sure that they don't have to choose between losing their house in 6 months or losing their job that they barely have. So
it's like another curve we need to flatten.
Yeah.
So I think we have a tenant, Eva.
Yeah, she's actually a co-op owner.
Co-op owner.
Yeah, a lot of our residents are owners either through cooperatives or limited equity condos.
Can we pull her on the screen so I can pick her brain?
Yeah.
Eva, you there?
Yeah. I see her in the background.
All right, Eva. It's Michael Lewis, temporary, and this is probably the only time I'm going to be asked to be the master of ceremonies if such a thing, but you're stuck with me. So tell me what's going through. Tell me a little bit about your experience of the last 10 days.
It's been crazy. So I'm a small business owner too. I'm an acupuncturist, and when this all started, I was doing a lot of research, trying to understand the situation that's going on, and trying to navigate that and make sure that my business stayed a safe place for people to come. And then as things got more serious, it just became this really hard business decision should I just stop seeing patients for now and not be there for patients through this, through what I can serve. And I ended up deciding to close down the acupuncture part of my practice. I'm able to still see patients through telemedicine with herbal consults, but not everybody is, not all of my patients are able to do the herbs. They want to do the acupuncture.
Right.
So it's been a rough transition. And with the herb supply, the herb companies have been impacted with more acupuncturists going to herbs. And my main herb supplier actually closed down to orders for a couple days, and that was nerve-wracking because then I wasn't going to be able to help my patients through herbs either. So it's been a rough ride.
How you been sleeping?
This is the first weekend I've actually taken off because the last 2 weekends I've been just trying to figure this all out.
I don't know about you. I'm spending a lot of my time thinking about what thoughts I'm not having that I should be having. That I'm trying to, it's like what active ingenuity is going to save, is going to make a lot of difference in my life that I'm not thinking of. I bet when you're in any kind of small business, when you're in this situation, I mean, you're probably just looking for lifelines. Is that how it feels?
It's been hard, and the thing is, for our patients who are going through that, like acupuncture can be really helpful for that, and we're not being able to do that right now.
Right.
Or there's a couple of acupuncturists who've chosen to stay open, but it's something that weighs on them. At at what point should they close too? It hasn't been an easy time.
All right, so you're literally framed by a silver curtain. So you give me one silver lining of all this. One thing that's happened, you thought,
oh yeah,
that's kind of nice. Best thing about the last week.
Having the herbs be available again, so I've been able to still serve some of the patients, and then just so much to be grateful for through it all. Just I've been really counting my blessings.
Thanks for being with us. We're about to go to another performance. We have Maurice Tanny, who's a supercalifornographic singer-songwriter, known for his wry romantic songwriting, agile guitar style, and expressive singing. He's been the source of untold but exquisite suffering in the Bay Area for 20 years. Tanny now has 8 albums to his credit. The latest on the Little Village label is called This Is It. It's a live album recorded at Berkeley's Freight and Salvage. Maurice, take it away.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
I thought with the limited time we have left, I just kind of give a little something a little lighthearted about the nature of hygiene. Perhaps is a little sexier than we've been making it. Has it been a hard day, honey? Yeah, I've had one too. I just got in the door, not 10 minutes before you. Go wash your hands now, baby. Supper is gonna be a while. I spent all day just thinking, make that missing you. I think we've found in each other a love that's strong and true. Go wash your hands now, baby. Supper is gonna be a while. I got you something special just to show you that I care. Just give me a couple of minutes, baby, then you can come upstairs. Find some quiet music on the clock radio. Pour us a couple of glasses of wine and turn the lights down low. Has it been a hard day, honey? Yeah, I've had one too. I just got in the door, not 10 minutes before you. Go wash your hands now, baby. Supper is gonna be a while. Josephine had Napoleon, Juliet had Romeo, Cleopatra had Mark Antony, Bonnie had her Clyde Barrow. And we've got each other, a little nation of two, undivided, forever united, just me and you. Has it been a hard day, honey? Yeah, I've had one too. I just got in the door, not 10 minutes before you. Go wash your hands now, baby. Supper is gonna be a while. Washing your hands is sexy.
There you go. That was great. Thank you. My hands are shiny. I've been washing them so much. They're almost glow in the dark at night.
I don't have any dead skin cells left on my hands.
Thank you, Maurice. That was great. See you down the road.
All right.
All right, Jesse, you wanna present something, I think.
Sure. Before we close, I was informed that Congresswoman Barbara Lee wanted to send in a video showing her support for the Berkeley Relief Fund. I want to take this opportunity to thank Barbara Lee for leading the effort in Congress to make sure that cities like Berkeley have the resources to address this growing pandemic, and to make sure that everyone, our businesses, our residents, our homeless, have the support needed to get through this crisis. So we can now go to a message from Representative Barbara Lee.
Go. Hello, I'm Congresswoman Barbara Lee, and I am proud to represent California's 13th Congressional District. It's during times of crisis that our communities come together to help one another. As we face the COVID-19 pandemic, we must not forget about our local businesses that are the foundations of our communities. We are all in this together and must look after one another so that we can all persevere. Today, I join the many voices in calling upon you to donate to the Berkeley COVID-19 Relief Fund. This fund, initiated by our courageous mayor, will help support small businesses, arts organizations, and tenants who have been impacted by the result of the virus. I am proud of the initiative of our local leadership. I'm proud what they have done to protect the most vulnerable members of our community during this crisis, and I will continue advocating on a federal level to take urgent action. Please make a donation if you can by visiting berkeleyrelieffund.org. Thank you, stay healthy, and stay safe.
So Michael, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for generously giving your time to help MC this. We should do this more often. This was a lot of fun. And before we close, I just want to talk about the importance of this effort, which we spent a lot of time, not only hearing from local businesses, but also from tenants about the impacts of the COVID-19 crisis. And, in addition to the devastating impact this pandemic has created throughout the world, on the health of people, not just throughout the world, but also in the Bay Area. A lot of our community is really hurting right now as well. Our businesses are shuttered. In some cases, jobs have disappeared overnight. Our arts organizations have closed their doors, and residents are on the verge of facing homelessness. Small business owners who are doing the right thing to keep their community safe are hurting due to the loss of income and life savings. And we're asking those of you who are in a position to help, who care deeply about this community like we do, to please give what you can. With all of us doing our part, we can look forward to the day when our shops reopen, when a meal and a drink at our favorite restaurant is a possibility, when we can take a night out and see an amazing arts performance at the Berkeley Rep or the Afraid or the Aurora Theater or the UC Theater, one of the many amazing arts organizations our city is known for. But in closing, our community is strong and resilient, and we've demonstrated this throughout our 140-year history, when we have overcome many challenges. We've overcome earthquakes, we've overcome fires, we've overcome protests. And as we face this new crisis, it's more important than ever that we reach out and that we support each other. So please give today to the Berkeley Relief Fund. Once again, www.berkeleyrelieffund, all one word, .org, berkeleyrelieffund.org, to support our treasured businesses, our arts organizations, and our neighbors during this very difficult time. Once again, Michael, thank you so very much for taking the time to help MC this show today. It was really a great experience. And thank you for caring about our community and all that you do to make Berkeley such an amazing place.
Jesse, thanks for asking. And anytime you need anything, let me know. And I just want to second that. I think that it's like a moment where we all need to pitch in. And this, one of the things that makes this place so special is how it's encouraged small business, and small business. It's been an incredibly fertile business environment. And the businesses usually don't need our help. And this is a brief moment where they do. And if we help them, it may make all the difference in the world that we come back to when this is over. So I'm going to help. I'm going to give money, and I hope if anybody's out there and can afford to do it, they will join me. Thanks for having me, and I think we'll end on a little clip. So till next time.
Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a magic penny, hold it tight and you won't have any. Lend it, spend it, and you'll have so many, they'll roll all over the floor. For love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. So let's go dance until the break of day.